Welcome back to the neighborhood. I'm Dylan, and today I'll be talking about Sea of Thieves, the things I like and dislike, and whether or not I think it's worth your time in 2024. Sea of Thieves was developed by Rare and published by Microsoft Studios in 2018. We're talking about it today because some of you may be looking for a pirate game to fill the hole left by the sinking ship that is Skull and Bones, because it'll be coming to PlayStation next month, but most importantly, because I feel like it. The game itself transports you into an open world where you and up to 3 of your friends can form a crew of scallywags sailing the seas in search of adventure. The map features several island outposts that serve as the hubs for your adventures, letting you drink in the tavern, sell your loot, and purchase cosmetics with said loot. From there, you set out on one of 3 different types of ships. There's a sloop, which is ideal for solo or duo groups, a brigantine, which is meant for a trio, or the big one, the galleon, for a full party of 4. Sailing the seas can require some teamwork, as you have to manage your navigation, steering your ship, setting the sails, and keeping a lookout for dangers. If you do find yourself engaged with enemies, either the NPC or the other player kind, you'll also have to manage loading and firing your cannons, repairing your ship, and bailing out water and putting out fires. All in all, this can be a lot of fun as you work together with some friends, or match-made strangers, or take on the challenge of doing it all solo. But you're not just sailing aimlessly through the seas. There are a ton of missions and objectives to pursue. While you used to need to pick up the quests at an outpost, Rare has streamlined the process, allowing you to choose your activities directly from your ship. There are several major factions, and some minor ones you'll have access to right out of the gate. You can work with the Merchant Alliance, delivering cargo and tracking down lost shipments. The Order of Souls tasks you with hunting bounties on skeletal pirates or ghost ships. The last major faction is the Gold Hoarders, who task you with what I consider to be the most traditional pirate tasks, of using maps, magic compasses, and riddles to find buried treasure. All 3 factions can send you on raids of skeleton forts or siren shrines, or pitch you against enemy armadas, or even allow you to become an emissary, earning greater rewards, but also putting a bigger target on your back for the other pirates sailing the seas. There are a few minor factions. The Hunter's Call pays for hunting, unsurprisingly, whether that be meats from animals on islands, fish you reeled in, or parts from the monsters that stalk the seas. Athena's Fortune is only available after you've proven yourself as a pirate, but offers more challenging voyages for more valuable rewards. And finally, the Reaper's Bones don't actually offer any missions beyond hunting down other pirates sailing the seas and ruining their day by sinking their ship and stealing their loot. Along the way, you'll run into emergent quests, like seeing a shipwreck you can dive to and loot, finding a random treasure map in a bottle on shore, or being ambushed by a kraken. All of these things keep the game feeling dynamic and are great for creating stories to tell back at the tavern once the voyage is done. If you're looking for something a little more structured, there are adventures you can undertake. Some of them are based in the Sea of Thieves world, but others are based on Pirates of the Caribbean or the Monkey Island series. These generally follow more of an overarching story and often have unique locations and objectives. There's also a ton of other things and goals you can work towards, from buying your own customized ship to fighting in a PvP arena. Overall, you won't be lacking for things to do if you load into the Sea of Thieves. Now, I personally find a ton of things that you can do in the game to be a ton of fun, and it really scratches my exploration itch. But that said, there are a few things that annoy me. The ship-to-ship combat can be fun, especially if you have a crew, but once you get into hand-to-hand combat, I find it to be awkward. The sword fighting and shooting isn't too bad when you're fighting skeletons and ghosts, though it can get a little repetitive. On some of the raids, where you are taking on pirate lords, they can feel pretty tanky, which just shines more of a light onto these issues. That said, I personally am not playing this game for the combat, so for the most part, this is a minor gripe for me. But if you're someone looking for tight, dynamic pirate-to-pirate combat, this may not be the game that you're wanting. I'm not a huge fan of the merchant quests. Most of them feel tedious to me, but also I didn't watch Pirates of the Caribbean and think, hey, I wish I could play as the East India Trading Company. I think what I would have more fun with is buying goods from one location, sailing the seas to trade them at different outposts where those outposts are buying them for a higher price. But I'm sure that system could be gamed, and again, it doesn't really fit with the whole pirate theme. So if you're looking for more of like a merchant ship fantasy, this may not be the game you're looking for. Some of the cosmetics can be a bit expensive, and some of the really cool ones are locked behind having to pay real money. For example, the Pirates of the Caribbean ship skins. But also I don't find the microtransactions egregious, and they're definitely not required. The game is pretty generous with giving out loot, and does have a lot of awesome looking cosmetics that are earnable just through playing the game. I will mention the PvP nature of the game, because while it can frustrate me to lose some treasure to other pirates, I understand that it's a game literally called Sea of Thieves. I think it's important to acknowledge, though, that while PvP is not actually required, you could still be attacked by other players at any time. In my time playing, I would say I've ran into way more chill pirates just looking to have fun and not fight than people who are looking to ruin your day. But if you play long enough, you will find at some point enemies on your ship jumping around and shooting you as you respawn and respawn until either your ship sinks or you just quit the game. Either way, they're stealing your treasure. There are things in the game like Reaper's Bones that encourage PvP, and there are things you can do to choose to make yourself more of a target, like becoming an emissary, but sometimes it's just kind of luck of the draw and who's on your server. That said, they did recently add a Safer Seas option that allows you to sail without the threat of PvP, though you do earn less rewards for doing so, and it does impose a few other restrictions. But if you're somebody that just hates the idea of PvP at all, this may not be a game that you're interested in. So while there are a few areas that I do feel like there's some awkwardness or maybe some friction or things people may not like, for the most part, I think this game does a lot well. So is it worth your time, especially in 2024, 6 years after it was launched? I personally would say yes. I love exploration, and this game does that so well. Loading in and choosing to go hunt some treasure is a ton of fun, and I get to search for clues and solve puzzles to find where the loot is buried. I'm a big fan of emergent stories, and Sea of Thieves is fantastic at setting up scenarios that you'll be thinking about after they're over. For example, I had just tracked down a treasure vault using a magical compass to find pieces of a map. Once I loaded up my ship with the treasures, I was sailing back to an outpost to sell it when I was ambushed by some skeleton ships. I was able to defeat them and add a little bit more loot to my ship, but as I was doing that, tense music started to play and I saw a dark fin come up from the water headed towards my boat. I was almost out of wood to make repairs, so I scrambled to get my sails down and hightail it out of there before the megalodon sank me. This kind of story happens all the time when I'm playing, and I love it. Sailing around is a ton of fun, and if you're looking to fulfill that pirate fantasy, I think Sea of Thieves is a great place to get it. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Is Sea of Thieves worth playing in 2024? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving us a like to let us know, or subscribing to be notified when we have a new video go live. If you want to hear more from us, check out Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers wherever you get your podcasts. That's all I've got, so I'll leave you with a reminder to stay friendly, gamers.